love it when my camera starts on its own. It's very interesting, but I'm going to roll with it. Um, I had an interesting parenting experience today, and I thought I would share. I like to share if I can, if I have the opportunity, like in the moment. Um, but it's not always possible. But today it is. Um, my midwife suggested doing my iron every day because your body can only absorb so much iron. But I'm starting to get that sluggish effect on the days that I take it, and I think I'm going to be taking it every day just so that I don't feel like crap in between. But nonetheless, I was feeling pretty crappy this morning after I ate breakfast and just like immediately had felt like napping. And um, on days like today, it makes being a mom is so rough when it's not the first kid because there's other people you have to worry about. And I'm always immensely grateful for my oldest daughter and my second daughter, because generally they are either stepping into or are trying to step into being helpful people. And of course, they have their moments where they're not, because everybody has moments that they're not helpful. But on the whole, um, they are. My second daughter is learning how to do laundry, and so she did okay all day today. And um, sometimes, clothes dryer, you just don't know if it's completely dry or not. Like, it feels dry initially, but then you're kind of touching it, it feels kind of wet. So anyway, I just wanted her to know the difference. And as I'm feeling so crappy, my oldest daughter came down to help her and said, yeah, it's done, it's okay to fold it. And my second daughter flipped out over folding it, like beyond flipped out over folding it. And ironically, most of the clothes were her, because we spent yesterday, when I was feeling good, I was really hustling after them to pick up their rooms and things. I'm trying to get life organized a bit better. And so a lot of the clothes were hers that we found in her room. And my oldest daughter said, look, I have folded all of these, and I normally and then, you're supposed to take them and put them upstairs, and you didn't. You chose to throw some of them on the floor and not put them away. So I'm not going to fold them for you. And my second daughter came, and she's like, this is so unfair, and I'm so upset. And I'm like, no, your sister's right. Like, you, if you had been taking care of your stuff and you just put a little bit in the laundry basket every day, there wouldn't be this almost entire load that's yours. So, you really do need to fold it. And she flipped out and started swearing and everything. And I know people have different things on swearing. For me, to me, they're just words. My husband feels vastly different, though, on swearing. And so I'm just sitting there and I'm feeling crappy and just like, and I just said, look, I'm sorry, and I understand what you're saying, and I hear you, but if these are your clothes, this does need to be done. It's most appropriate, even if it feels unfair right now, for you to do it, because they are your clothes. And, I don't really appreciate, you're swearing. You're 9 years old. You really shouldn't be doing that. I think I was like in my 20s before I was swearing in front of my parents. I'm sure I was swearing at her age, just never in front of my parents. That means my kids feel comfortable in front of me, but whatever. So anyway, so she storms off and she's screaming and crying and everything, and I'm just kind of like, this day, like, it started off so well, and now it's crappy again, and it's getting crappier, and okay. And just feeling like, if I was just feeling a little bit better, I could be being a better mom and working on the room with them today, and, just all the things, right? Because in those moments, you feel like you're just failing. And it's all out of my control at the same time. I can't control that I guess I could have, in theory, I could have tested my iron and, made sure all my blood work was perfect before I got pregnant, but I didn't. Again, it is what it is. So, I do take accountability, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, ah. So, anywho, um, she came back about 15, maybe 20 minutes later, but I really don't think it was that long. And she comes up to me and she's just, Mom, I am so sorry. She's like, I know I really freaked out and I feel absolutely terrible. And she's starting to cry and everything. And sorry, the bugs just started to swarm me. It was this really vulnerable, pivotal moment for her. And I realized how I react in this moment is going to determine a lot. And I could have yelled and screamed at her, and been like, if you, I don't, anything. I'm like, and I didn't do that. I could tell she just wanted to be hugged and she needed to release that. And it's hard. It's a hard age because you're starting to come into the adult world and stuff like that. And I remember that. And sometimes you just want a big hug. And, you don't need this deep conversation. You just need a hug. And so I just hugged her and, loved on her and just, wrapped my arms around her, rubbed her back a little bit. And, just told her, I love her and everything, and that I know it's difficult because it is. It's all, like, that's why we're here, is to have experiences and learn and do. And she apologized for swearing and everything. And I said, look, it really, I don't care, but, your father cares. And so that means I have to care. And because there's some things that I'm going to back him up on, that even if I don't 100% agree with it, and it's not one of those that's important enough to me, that there's other important things that I kind of go, we need to not do that or whatever. But that's important to him, and so therefore it's important to me. And just having that moment and that conversation with her and letting her feel heard and supported. And then I got to thinking about it because, the moment passes and everything. And she went on to go put her clothes upstairs and everything. And I thought two things. I thought, wow, that was a very adult move, or a very self-growth move for her. I mean, there's adults that can't admit they did something wrong and apologize, let alone a 9-year-old child, learning how to do things and getting frustrated and overwhelmed that she's doing them. Like, wow, that was huge. So I was like, I need to get up and make sure I point that out to her, because that really is. And I just wanted to give her like another extra kind of bonus hug because, wow, yeah, like, that's huge. So I did that, and she was really, that made her feel important and special, and it really recognized her for that big step. And I hope by approaching all of that in that way, that the next time something more challenging comes up, she doesn't get as frustrated, she doesn't freak out as much, and she'll continue to just step up more and more. The other thing that I realized was, if I wasn't feeling so shitty, that I probably would have completely lost my shit on her, and when she freaked out. And I think part of that is still parenting stuff that, we parent as we saw being parented. And it's, I try very hard to make changes in that, but sometimes I'm very unsuccessful. And so when I get a moment like that on one of these bad days, it gives me more time to pause and think and ponder on it than perhaps I normally would. And I think that helps me for in the future to take that breath, not react and respond immediately, but to really think on how do I want to respond to this situation. And I am getting better and better, and the more self work and self exploration that I do, the better it gets. And anytime there's an illness or something, I think the universe is trying to show us things. What they are is going to be specific to us and our situation. Um, but I'm trying really hard to be a good parent and a good mom. And as hard as it is to rest, and as much as it makes me feel like a bad mom to rest, today it was a really good thing because it pointed out to me that I need to watch how I'm reacting, um, and not reacting just out of routine or this is what I was taught or whatever, but to really make sure how I'm responding is the way that I want to respond. And that's hard. And again, I have to give myself compassion, love, and kindness to get through those moments. I need to give myself compassion, love, and kindness that, physically, this is where I'm at today. It is what it is. And remembering that every time I freaked out, that makes them more prone to freaking out too. And so I'm not surprised at my second daughter's reaction of her freaking out or anything like that, because that's what she's seen. And we try really hard to make changes, but there's still that impression. And um, and so it was lots of good lessons all around. And it makes me so grateful for all of it, to be seen and shown, and to be able to step back to realize and observe all of that. That's such a gift. That's something most people don't do. Um, and so I guess if you find yourself in that moment as a parent, to really appreciate that and to love it, um, and to know you're doing it. You're coming further and further each day. And some days it may seem like you've only moved inches, and then you look back and you've walked miles. I don't know. I keep hoping I'll be this perfect parent one day, but I don't know if she really exists. And honestly, that kind of sounds boring too. um, but I know I'm setting my kids up even better than I was set up. Um, I know they're going to have trauma to overcome and deal with, but I hope that they'll become who they are much earlier than I did. And if I can give them that gift, that's a lot. So, and if I can learn about me and find me along the way, then that's amazing too, because they're amazingly showing me stuff every day as well. So that was my quick afternoon lesson with my second daughter. I thought you guys would appreciate it. So hopefully I dig up the energy here to make dinner. And I hope you guys have a great evening, okay? Bye-bye.